remember I was in the 7th grade and I was riding bikes with one of my middle school guy friends, and his name was Frankie. And we're riding our bikes down to the downtown area, and we're just talking about middle schooler stuff, right? And I remember we were talking about who was the prettiest in the class, or who was the prettiest in the school. And I remember him vividly being like, well, I think all of the guys would vote you as the prettiest, but, and then he trailed off in his sentence. Mind you, we're in middle school, right? This isn't we know exactly what we're talking about, or he was trying to be mean or anything like that. And I was like, what's the but? And he's like, well, but you're black. And I think it was in that moment that something struck within me. We all have a moment in our life where something clicks for us, or something we remember. It's a standout moment for us, because up until then I really never understood why I was never picked on dances, to go out on dances, why I was never picked to be anybody's girlfriend, why I was never asked on dates. Mind you, we are in middle school at this point. I think up until then I always equated it to I'm ugly, I'm not attractive, I don't look like the other girls. Was something wrong with me physically, or maybe the way that I spoke, or maybe the way whatever it might be. And so I think during that conversation I was shocked that people found me attractive, and then equally I was kind of confused because why I wasn't being asked out into these dates. And then for it to be verbally oh, you're pretty, but you're also black. And I think ever from that point, I was like, oh, there's something wrong with the color of my skin, or I don't fit into this space. Fast forward, I ended up going to Spelman College, which is the #1 historically black all women's college. And that was even more confusing to this concept of my self-concept, or my self-esteem, or my self-validation, because now I was surrounded around people that kind of looked like me, but I still felt this internal lower self-esteem. But now you have men validating you, and men kind of supplementing my validation or my self-worth of myself, when all along it should have been myself validating myself. I should have self-validated myself. But obviously I was in middle school. I was 18, 19 in undergrad. It's taken me a long time. I mean, I'm very glad that I kind of have done the work and done the necessary things that I need to heal my self-concept, that I need to heal how I look at myself, to how I heal, how I validate myself. And it's been so beneficial in my personal relationships, in my romantic relationships, even career-wise. So if you relate to anything that I just said, you've had a moment in your life where it's kind of fissured your self-concept. Maybe you came from a really toxic relationship where that person just put you down all the time. Maybe you're just in a point in your life where you just log on, and every single time you're on social media, you're comparing yourself to someone, some influencer, some friend, some colleague, whatever it might be. I think this is such an important topic to talk about. And today, let me be your big sister, your little sister, your sister. And let's talk about, one, the truth about comparison that nobody ever talks about, why it's so addictive, especially for us women, especially for this community of women that's really trying their best to pour into themselves. I also want to share with you very vulnerably how I started self-validating myself. And then lastly, when comparison does happen, because it is going to happen, it's going to happen for the rest of our lives, especially those that have struggled with self-esteem in their life, what to do when it creeps in. But if this is your first time seeing my face, hello, my name is Jasmine. I create a lot of content on how to glow up, how to become your best self, how to make yourself the main character in your life. So if that sounds like something that you're focusing on you this year, you this summer, as you should, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you in the family. Like this video if you relate to self-esteem issues, or for some reason comparison due to social media or your real life environment is creeping up, and you see this as an obstacle to your glow up and you want to heal it. And then furthermore, I want you to go ahead and comment this emoji so that I know that you're tapped in, you know that it is a safe space. And girl, feel free to vent in the comments. I know we all have stories that just kind of hit our heart a little bit with our self-esteem. I also want to give a major shout out to today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Opera Air. Thank you so much, Opera Air, for sponsoring today's video and supporting this community. Never heard of Opera Air? It is a mindful browser. Mindful browser that actually supports my productivity, an intentional and peaceful digital environment without overwhelming me. So, personally, I use my tech nowadays to either plan content, whether it's researching for a video, shopping for a shoe, or even when I'm using my tech for personal reasons. Opera Air keeps everything clean. It has a really simple, intuitive, and clutter-free browser interface that reduces distractions and helps me maintain a stress-free online experience. It also has built-in mindfulness tools. Like, one of my favorite features is called Boost. It gives you access to over 20 curated soundscapes, everything from lo-fi beats to nature sound. I personally love using the creativity boost when I'm planning content or journaling, and the focus one when I'm writing scripts or editing. Honestly, it helped me lock in and find a flow without needing another app or playlist. Even better is there's also a break feature that I've been obsessed with. It tracks your energy through something called the body battery and then reminds you to take breaks when you need them, whether it's every 45, 90, or even 180 minutes. It gives you many break suggestions too, like neck stretches, breath work, or quick meditation. I'll take a stretch break or a tea break after filming, and it's really helped me to reset instead of burning out. As a creator, I am online constantly. So having a browser that supports not only my workflow, but my creativity, but also this glowed up era that I'm in where I'm pouring into myself little by little every single day, all of that is really, really important to me. Opera Air starts every single day with daily quotes to cultivate a positive mindset, and it's such a simple thing, but it really helps set the tone for a positive day and a positive mindset. Where sometimes it just gives me a gentle reminder to keep going when things are a little bit more overstimulating or overwhelming. This has been probably one of the coolest additions to my glow up journey. So don't worry, girl, I'll include more information down in my description along with the link to download Opera Air. Thank you so much, Opera Air, for sponsoring today's video and supporting this community. Without further ado, let us get into today's video. So I shared with you a story from middle school, but I would argue that a lot of people would see my life online, Instagram, YouTube, through the glow up diaries and be like, how do you suffer from comparison issues today? Like, you seem like you have it all. You have this, you have this, you have this. This is going right. You're a full-time content creator. Like, how do you suffer from comparison? Well, the first thing I would say to that is when you suffer from low self-esteem, especially if that is something that you struggled with in your childhood, I'm sorry, it's never going to leave you. No matter how successful you are, I would argue the more successful you get, the more ambitious you get, it can start to creep in more and more and more. And it can affect your confidence. It can affect how you're showing up in the world. I won't lie to you, I still deal with comparison today. Honestly, being vulnerable with y'all, when I moved here to Jersey City, to New York, and I'm going to some of these influencer events, the influencer scene here in New York is so much different. And I won't lie to y'all, like I love where I'm at in my career. I love my engagement. I love my community. I love the opportunities. Sometimes I will go to these events and they will have, not even 10% of my following, not even the views. The quality isn't there. And I see them get this opportunity, this opportunity, this opportunity. Like, I don't know about you, but have you ever gone online and, it's not coming from a place of jealousy. It's just coming from a place of, I feel behind, or I should have gotten that already. I've been there, and I promise you, the more that I scrolled, the worse that it got. Honestly, I feel like comparison is so normalized nowadays. Even though we know that all of these influencers or our friends or our family are only putting out online what we want them to see. I mean, even if it's not online, even if it's in person, seeing your peers do this and that, seeing them look like this and that. I don't think there's anything wrong in wanting to be more, wanting to be better for yourself, wanting to look in the mirror and love yourself. There's nothing wrong. That's what our glow up journey is all about. That's why we're all here today, is to work on ourselves. And I think there's something beautiful within that journey. I think it's really, really important on our glow up journey, that internal part of our glow up journey, to focus on our self-concept, on our self-esteem, on our confidence, on validating ourselves. I think we have a habit of thinking comparison is insecurity. It's a very, very normal emotion. And sometimes it doesn't always have to be negative. There's been times that I've compared myself to something or a situation or someone, and it's actually been a motivating factor to want to be better, to get back into the gym, to work on myself a little bit more, to change my eating habit, to change my environment. Sometimes it can be a catalyst for change. But I think oftentimes comparison is a sneaky little thing. It sneaks up on you. You have to understand something. We are literally wired to always assess our situation, to assess the people around us, to assess our environment, to compare. It's really ancient survival programming. You know, where long ago we're trying to see how we fit into an environment. Is this a threat? We're trying to relate ourselves to that person, to that thing, to that animal, to that situation. Nowadays, in the world of social media, in the world that we live in now, it's really not necessary as a survival instinct. And actually, it's turned into something quite negative. Social media in general, we all know, acts as our highlight reel. Somebody's best moments, the best looks, filters, milestones, all these kind of curated aesthetics. So we know we're supposed to take it with a grain of salt, but there's something internally that makes us compare ourselves to those people. I think women in particular are taught to compare looks, success, our love lives, our bodies, and I would often argue friendships. I think the other day, you know, I was at the park with my boyfriend and I saw like a group of like really great girlfriends, and I was like, oh, I wish I kind of had that, you know. I miss my college friend group, you know. I wish I had that. That's comparison right there. And now you take my life as a content creator, you know, I'm in the midst of it. I scroll all day long, so I truly understand comparison. But I've taken the time to improve my self-concept, to self-validate myself, to create this kind of layer of armor or shield or internal support that when I think those thoughts, I let them happen. I see what area of my life that's kind of pinging, you know, what touch point is that comparison tinging on? And I use it as an opportunity and a signal to grow. Speaking of which, I want to share with you some of the things that I have started doing to self-validate myself as a content creator, as a woman, as somebody that struggles with the self-esteem. And it's taken a very long time to love myself again. First thing I want you to do is I want you to reclaim your timeline. I don't know why we have this concept, oh, I should have been doing this by now. Oh, this person is here. I should be there right now. I should be where they're at right now. Now, I'm gonna keep mentioning this. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever we show, that graduation day, that new job post, that acceptance, that new relationship, we're always showing the greatest parts. So we can't really compare ourselves to those curated aesthetics and curated moments, but we do. So in those moments, we really have to reclaim our own timeline. Honestly, sis, it's very silly to be like, I should have been there. This is our one life, our one body, our one timeline. You are exactly where you need to be. You are not behind. You are literally on your own path. You can't want somebody else's success and this when you have no idea what it took for them to get to that point. Just like when somebody sees your success or your love life or the things that you have in life, they have no idea behind the curtain what it took for you to get that. Because I promise you, girl, when you get your man of your dreams, when you get that job offer, when you move to a beautiful place and you post about it on Instagram, they're still not going to see what it took to get there. Unless you're a content creator and an influencer and you just overshare like me. It's really important, and I do this a lot, is I zoom out a lot. I think sometimes we get stuck in the details, like I should have been done this, I should have done this, I should have done this to get to this point. Success is not linear. I can't even tell you how many times I have read autobiographies of really successful women, and their stories never go, oh, you know, I was born, I had a great childhood, I had 2 loving parents, and I went to this amazing school, and I went to this amazing school, and I got a full ride scholarship into college, and college was great, and I had internships every single summer. I graduated from college with no debt, and I got a great 100K paying job right out of college, and I worked my way up to every single position, and then I decided to become an entrepreneur, and my first product that I launched, like, nobody's story starts like that. Any single successful woman's book or story that I've ever heard, there's always been a struggle point. There's always been a catalyst point. There's always been a point where their ego was bruised, where their self-esteem was bruised, where they didn't even know if they should keep going. When there was a moment where they could have cowered and crawled back in a hole, or they had to work on their confidence. They had to show up for themselves. They had to work on their self-concept. They had to work on their self-esteem. There's always that moment or moments or periods in their life, valleys that they've needed to overcome, that the lessons that they learned in that is what made them into the women they are today. So you have to know that your path, whatever you're going through right now, is part of your story, and you're not going through it for nothing. Your story really might impact somebody. Even if it's just like, oh, I went through this to get this job. That path might really help the next generation or the next person or even a friend or a colleague. You never know where your story might take you. It's really important for us to zoom out when we're looking at our timeline, what we've got going on in our life, what we've been through. I mean, I'll share another story with you just moving here. You know, when I was in Atlanta, I was like, oh, I'm doing this influencer thing. Like, I'm really doing it. I feel so successful and everything. You plot me down into New York and all of these 21, 22, 19-year-olds is making just as much as me. And they're doing it, what, 8 years, 6 years, 5 years before I do. You know, comparison might creep in and be like, oh, I should have been doing this. I should have been on this branch. If I should have been doing this, like, look at them, like, look how young they are and they're doing this and this and this. I don't know their story, but look how just changing my environment made me think a little different way. Because when I was in Atlanta, I never thought that, you know, I was like, oh, I'm like 26, 27, 28 years old. Like, I'm still young. I still have the world ahead of me. Like, look what I'm doing. You place me in a different environment with different people, and that comparison can start to sneak in. I've really had to do the work in that kind of aspect to zoom out and notice that it is my environment that I'm in, that I'm on my own timeline. That if you've heard anything about my story, you saw how much it took to even get here and all the things that I have learned throughout my journey that sustain me as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a full-time content creator, as somebody that is chronically online. Do you know how many toxic situationships or toxic relationships or men I've had to deal with that have put me down and that have smothered my self-esteem into the dirt, that I have had to rebuild myself up to this point now, that a negative comment on one of my videos doesn't even faze me. That's what I'm talking about. Your story and your timeline is teaching you something for you don't even know what in the future. The next really important mindset shift that I really want you to make is internal motivation should outweigh external praise. So in one of my videos that is kind of going viral right now is I mentioned something about anchor habits. And anchor habits are basically, I choose one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and one in the evening. These are little habits, you know, they don't take a lot of energy, but there's something that kind of boosts my self-confidence a little bit more, or boost how I'm feeling in the day, or, you know, make me feel a little bit more productive, giving me a little bit more momentum, gives me an opportunity to, you know, praise myself a little bit more. You know, these tasks might be maybe in the morning, I make my bed in the morning, and I'm really proud I did that the first thing in the morning. It's kind of a little serotonin boost. I feel good about myself. I feel good about my space. My space is a little bit cleaner. In the afternoon, my anchor habit is really tied to my dog and taking him on a 10-minute walk. I mean, naturally being outside, being grounded, being amongst trees, being underneath the sun, getting that vitamin D, it's going to be a boost. And then sometimes I'll add like a motivational podcast on top of it, or maybe some affirmations, something I can add on top of it, again, to anchor me in the day, to make me feel more productive. At the end of the day, I love to do my 5-minute journal. That is something that really anchors me at the end of the night, something that closes me at the end of the night, and it is something that allows me to reflect on my day, to reflect on my mood. And it honestly, sometimes in the best way, feels like a checklist item. Like, oh, I got my journaling in for the day. Like, I feel really good that I checked those 3 things off of my list. That is how I start tracking how I feel internally about the habits that I am tracking, rather than how I look doing them, if that makes sense. I don't have to post 50 million times that I'm writing in my journal at night. That is how I shift where I place my validation, because my validation comes from knowing that I did it offline, or knowing that I did it and I didn't have to scream it to the world or scream it to my friends. I don't have to scream it to my friends that I made my bed in the morning. I don't have to scream it to the world that I'm going on a 10-minute walk in the middle of the day. But once you start praising yourself internally about the things that you are doing to boost your self-confidence, then you don't rely so heavily on performing certain habits just to get that validation, or performing your looks just to get that validation. If you are consistently self-validating yourself through the habits that you are doing internally every single day. And this is really how I celebrate non-aesthetic wins: my discipline, my consistency, my peace of mind, having a peaceful environment. Those are the things that I celebrate and I curate. Obviously, when I put on a little bit of makeup and I do my hair and I feel good for myself, but it is only because day to day, through my routine and through my habits, I'm consistently lifting myself up by proving to myself that my own discipline, my own consistency, and my own peace that I give to myself day to day. Speaking of journaling, I really want you to get in the habit of a daily check-in. I think a lot of times we might feel low, or we think it's this huge task to self-validate ourselves or self-affirm yourself. It doesn't really need to be all of that, but sometimes I feel like we have all of these thoughts in like the cloud of our head. That's why so many people talk about journaling, because sometimes something so therapeutic is just putting it on paper and taking it from your head out into the world, putting it down on paper, and it doesn't sound so daunting. I consistently ask myself, would I be proud of myself if no one saw this? And if the answer is yes, I fill my self-love tank and my self-concept up tank to the brim, because those are the things that make me feel the happiest. Would I still be proud of myself for going to the gym if I didn't post about it? Would I still be proud of myself if, I hit my nutritional goals for the day and I didn't post about it, or I didn't tell anybody about it? Yeah, because I feel good. If I filmed this video that I'm filming right now and I never posted about it, would I still be happy? Yes, because I love talking about this. I love having a sense of talking to have a sense of community. I was gonna yap about glowing up and leveling up 50 million times a day and not post about it, and I would still feel good about the area that I'm in. That kind of gives you an indicator if you're in the right environment, if you're in the right career, if you're in the right relationship. What are you doing today that your past self would be proud of? Because here's the thing, you right now are technically your higher self. And I know we love to throw around the word higher self, higher self, higher self. But honestly, y'all, there was a moment in time 2 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago, 5 years ago, that is looking at who you are today and was like, wow, I wish I could do that. I wish I could be in that position. I wish I could make that much money. I wish I could have that friend. But you as yourself have it right now. And you're looking towards a future version of you, not realizing that the you right now is someone that little Jazz used to look up to. So what are you doing today that your past self would be super proud of? The fact that you can control your own day because you're an entrepreneur. The fact that you finally let that toxic friend go and you are going out to lunch with a really, really good girlfriend that you can talk about positive things. The fact that you cleared your skin of acne marks or dark spots and you really took the time to invest in an esthetician and invest in your skin and you stuck to the program. What is something that your past self would be proud of yourself right now? And then the last thing I tend to ask myself, and again, these are 3 questions that I'm almost on autopilot with some of these. Where do I need my own validation today? Not anybody else's validation, not posting a video on TikTok and seeing how many views and comments it gets and, do people like it? We're not talking about that. Where do I need my own validation? Do I need my own validation how my body looks? Do I need my own validation on how I'm thinking about something? Do I need my own validation in the work product that I'm giving my manager? Where do I need my own validation? A little bit of extra boost. Maybe my skin is breaking out and I don't feel good about myself. That's a little bit area that I need an extra love. Maybe I take 15 more minutes, 30 more minutes, and I do a face mask with some positive affirmations, and it might feel grueling, like, oh, why do I have to talk to myself in this way about this certain thing? Like, I kind of want to just avoid talking about my skin. I want to avoid looking at my skin. No, you need your own validation. You have to be your own best cheerleader, your own best friend. Now, this next part, I really, really want you to listen to. I have made a number of videos on this, a number of TikToks, a number of Instagrams, and I've talked about this probably since the beginning of time, ever since I started talking on social media. When we talk about changing your environment, I'm such a big proponent on, in order to glow up, in order to level up, in order to become a better you, in order to achieve all of your dreams, you have got to change your environment. Now, does that look upping and moving cities or states or countries? Does that mean quitting your job and looking for a new one? Does that mean cutting off all of your friends and looking for a new friend group? No, it doesn't. Sometimes it does. I mean, I just recently moved and I feel like I entered another era of my glow up journey. I remember finally when I got out of that awful apartment with no lighting, and just simply an environment change, an apartment change was enough for me to motivate me to become a better person. I remember when I started to become a little bit more intentional with who my friends were. That was another level up. Your environment, everything from your friends, everything from your relationships, your career, your physical environment, even your digital environment needs to be done intentionally to protect your peace, to protect your self-esteem, and to protect how we operate in this world. Because I know that I am pretty prone to lower self-esteem or, comparison, and because I also know I'm a content creator, and even if I wasn't a content creator, I'm still gonna have Instagram, TikTok, whatever, really taken the time to curate my digital environment. So if you need to unfollow the shade room, the gossip pages, influencers that you can't relate to, don't relate to, or every single time they pop up, they instill a negative form of comparison within you. Oh, I can't believe she has this. I wish I had this. If you follow anybody like that, you need to literally do a digital detox on your following and on your feed. When you log on to your social media, when you open up your computer, you should be inspired. You should be motivated. We should be learning more things. We should be wanting to level up. We should actually be feeling good about ourselves and, learning tips and tricks that we can apply into our own life. Because here's the thing, you cannot heal your comparison in the same environment that triggers it. I mentioned this before, but I don't know, I need to reiterate this again. I really thought that at the end of my glow up journey, or when I did all of this self-work, I would never feel comparison again. I would never need external validation. I would never need a man's validation. And a lot of that I've healed. But I'm gonna tell you the bad news and I'm gonna tell you the good news. Here's the thing, comparison is never gonna go away. It's still gonna creep in, but this isn't about perfection. It's about practice. It's almost kind of like letting things go. There's never gonna be a point where you let it go. You have to get that out of your mind. It's a constant process of letting it go, to heal it just 1%, so that when those thoughts do creep into your head, when comparison does creep in, you know how to handle it and you actually know how to turn around and become a powerful tool for you. A lot of times when comparison hits me, let's say like on social media, I will literally put my phone down. Maybe I'll journal, I'll repeat a mantra, I'll include that in my journal entry today. What was that trigger point? I'm a big logical person, so I'm like, you know what? That career win triggered me. Like I'm comparing myself, like why wasn't I there? Okay, let me take a step back. Why is this point triggering me? Is there something that I still need to work on? What about them achieving that bothers within me? How would other people look at where I'm at in my career right now? And what are the things that they could probably compare themselves to me? Then I realized we're all on our own journey. Nobody can compare themselves to me, just like how I could never compare myself to another person. I zoom out, I reclaim my timeline, think about it a little bit more. I let the thought pass. I see what that trigger point is. And if it's career, if it's love, or it's anything like that, how can I give myself my own validation? I see a really healthy and loving relationship. How can I share how can I show myself love, show myself affirmation, show myself a little something? Maybe I take myself out on a date. Maybe I gift myself some flowers. Maybe I write a love letter to myself. Maybe it's career. This person is a really successful influencer. If you do not get out to that camera right now and start filming a video just like this and just post it and see what happens, oh, that person's hair is so shiny and so silky. If you don't show yourself a little bit of love and do a wash day, or save a little bit more to go to that hairstylist that you've been meaning to, and then you look forward to going to get your hair done, how can you show your own self-validation? How can you turn it inwards as a powerful catalyst to show yourself a little bit more love? Because here's the thing, it's okay to slip up. It happens to me all the time. The goal is more so to notice it faster and to come back to self-love and to validating yourself, not just letting it linger in your mind or in your environment. The truth is, nobody's life is as perfect as it looks. But your life, your beautiful, messy, amazing, loving, fulfilling life, it deserves your full presence, sis. Not being stuck in the past or being stuck in somebody else's reality that you just don't have all the facts to. The moment you start giving yourself validation, the moment you start giving yourself validation that you seek from others, that is when your glow up becomes unstoppable. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to comment down below an area in your life that you find yourself comparing yourself to a lot lately. Is it your love life? Is it career? Is it just peace in your life? And how can we shift that together? What is one thing that you can do to show yourself a little bit of your own validation? I also really want you to check out Opera Air. Again, I'll have more information down in my description so you can download the browser from there. I know this is something that we are all working on, not just you, not just me, but us as a sisterhood and a community. And I really love having these talks with you. So let me know if anything in this video resonated with you. I'd love to have more of these talks with you. So if you're not already subscribed, I would love if you would join the family. Like this video, definitely follow me on all social medias, including Instagram and TikTok, for more glow up tips that you might not find on here. And of course, like always, I will see you in the next video. Bye, girl.